In this video, we'll be constructing triangles with circumcircle, that is, circle around the triangle, touching all the vertices. And of course, we'll require a triangle, that is, we construct a triangle and then we now circle it. Okay, construct triangle PQR such that QR equal to 8 cm and angle PQR is 60 degrees and angle QRP is 45 degrees. Construct a circle which touches all three vertices of the triangle. So that is what we also call circumscribing. So I've gone ahead and I've drawn the triangle. I've constructed the triangle. So this triangle, it says it has QR 8 cm. So this is 8 cm. This is 60 degrees. And this is 45 degrees. By now, you already know how to construct a triangle. You already know how to construct these angles. This angle 90 bisected is angle 60. Okay. So to circumscribe a circle, to draw a circle that touches the three vertices of a triangle, the first thing you need to do is to know that you have to pick out two sides, and those two sides you're going to bisect the lines of two sides of that triangle. Then the intersection of the bisecting lines, you now form the center of the circle that is going to circumscribe that triangle. So you now adjust it so as to touch the vertices of the triangle. And that's all. Very, very cool and easy once you've constructed the triangle. We will now go ahead to do that. And then the materials you'll be needing is a sharp pencil, but not too sharp to tear your paper. We need a pair of compass and a pencil too, a short pencil. If it was long, your hand, while you're drawing, your hand will be interfering, like it will interfere with the drawings. Then you also need a ruler. Okay. Then we are going to bisect. I choose to bisect these two lines. So to bisect a line once again, you get to this end of the line. You're going to draw out a radius that is above half of the line, like you can see, just like an estimate from what you can see with your eye. So you're going to draw it out. Yeah, once it's above half of the line, you can now make an arc and also make an arc on both sides of the line. This side of the line, this side of the line. You get the sharp end of your compass on this other point. Then you're going to cross those two. Then at the point where they met, when you join these two points in a straight line, that line bisects this original one. Now we're going to get the rule and then find the exact point of intersection. That is where the line is going to cross. So you place your rule carefully. Then you're going to test it with your pencil to make sure that the pencil is going to pass through those exact points. Once it does so, you draw your line, right? Then we also bisect this line. So once again, at this end, you're going to mark an arc. Okay. Then at this end, mark an arc, and then this other arc we can see is at this point, right? And this point, we are now going to draw a line, a straight line that will pass through those points of intersection of the arcs, right? Then you make the line. Okay, so we can see where the lines cross, right? that point of intersection of those bisecting lines, that is the point. That is the center of the circle that will circumscribe this triangle. So our duty is now to make sure it's going to touch these vertices. You can see it's already touching the vertices, right? You adjust it once it can touch these vertices. Make sure it touches this other vertex, right? At that exact, did I move the paper? So at that exact point, touching this vertex, right? And then this, and then this. Once you've confirmed, you circumscribe. You see that, right? You see, it touches all the points, all the required points, right? Good. So that is how to circumscribe a triangle. Bisect any two lines. The point of intersection of those two bisectors is the center of the circle. You adjust to meet the vertices, then you circumscribe.